Hey everybody, today we are taking a look at Evolution, a game put out by North Star Games in which you are trying to take your species and have them evolve, survive, have them thrive, and have the most points at the end of the game. Let me give you a brief overview of how the game works, and then we'll come back here and I'll tell you my final thoughts. To set up the game, you're going to put the watering hole here in the center of the table. You're going to give everybody one species card there, and everybody gets also one of these bags in which they'll keep their food tokens, which are these over here, and they will mark that they start with a species at population 1 and body size 1 as well. Then you're going to shuffle up the deck of cards here, and you're ready to begin. The game's objective is basically to have at the end of the game as much food as possible, because each token of food is going to be worth a point, and then also to have a lot of population on your surviving species, which will also be points, and some of these cards will give you points as well. So the way it works is you are going to go through a few phases each round. The first phase is dealing cards, and everybody's going to get 3 cards plus 1 for each population board they have here for each species, so they get 4, 4, and 4, and so on, that player as well. Then the second part, phase 2, is selecting food. What that means is you're going to take a look at these cards, and you have to throw one face down in the watering hole, and this is the only thing really you're looking at there, which tells you how much food will be available. So let's say I want to throw that in there, and this player will do that one, and that player who never even got cards, poor thing, will do that one. Next thing is playing cards, and so starting from the start player, who by the way gets the best start player token ever designed. Look at this thing. Wow! They are going to be able to do one of 3 different things. They can either play a trait, which means whatever the card actually does, and you would take one, you would put it face down above your species there, and that would be that. You can also use a card to create a new species, in which you're going to discard a card and get a new one of these, and that one would come into play with, again, a 1 and a 1 for the population and the body size. So let's say they did that one with that other card. And then the third thing you can use a card for is increasing your body size or your population. So let's say this third card, I want to discard and increase my body size here, and I'll tell you why that's important later on. So that's basically it. This player can use all their cards if they want to, then that one, then that one. Once that's done, we reveal these cards. These species will gain these attributes, and that's it for that phase. Phase number 4 is feeding. At that point, we would take all these cards that are in the watering hole, reveal them, and put as much food as the total of these cards in the watering hole. These are all really different, but they don't necessarily matter. You would throw in there 3 plus 3 plus 5, put them in the watering hole. That looks about right. Once that's done, starting from the start player, my friend here with the ridiculous token, they would feed one of their species. So for example, this species here would take one of them and put it in that spot there, and they are going to eat equal to their population. So this guy would just take 1. If this had been increased later on, once we go around, each player would just take 1 at a time. Then once it's this player's turn again, they could take another, and if there's still food on the third go around, they could even take another. At the end of the round, these tokens are going to go in their little bag, and we would get ready for the next round. We would continue doing so until the deck is out, and then the game will be over at that point. The reason we need to worry about body size here is because some of these attribute cards will make some of the characters carnivorous. And so a carnivore, like this one here for example, it says carnivore may attack and eat other species, can never eat plant food. So if this player makes this species here a carnivore, then on their turn, instead of grabbing food here from the watering hole, they can instead attack another species, and they would decrease their population by 1 and grab a token, and they have fed from this critter. the body size there is what's important, because this critter here, the carnivore, has to be big enough to eat this one. So if you pump up something's body size to the point that another carnivore cannot eat it, then that one is safe. There are, of course, cards that change just about everything I've mentioned. There are cards that will let you get around the body size rule, that will make it harder to attack even if you are small. There are cards that are going to let you take food first, such as having a long neck, for example. There are cards that will have one species cooperate with the species next to it, depending on how you lay them out. So all sorts of things here. Fatty tissue, defensive herding. A carnivore must be larger in population and body size to attack that species. You have pack hunting here, +3 body size when determining if this species can attack another species. So this one lets a small carnivore take down a big guy because they're hunting in packs. You have horns here, which is a carnivore must decrease its population by 1 when attacking, because whatever they're trying to eat has horns. And so that's basically the game. You continue playing like that, each round getting new cards. You get 3 plus as many species as you have, throwing a card in the watering hole for future food, playing your cards out. You can save some if you want to. At the end of the round, you again get all the food that you've put on your guys here and throw it in your bag and continue going until at the end of the game you count up population, food in your bag, and then, like I said, some cards might give you some points as well, and whoever has the most points is the winner of Evolution. So there you have it, Evolution. First thing I'll say, and it's really not something I need to say because you can see this artwork for yourself, is that the game is gorgeous. I love the look of it. I love that the artwork is all from the same artist, so it all looks congruent. It all has this just beautiful, soft look to it. It is a stunning, stunning game. The game itself I find to be very neat, very original. As you can tell, the game system itself is really quite simple. You know, play some cards, grab some food, score them at the end. So the game has this very simple skeleton on which all the cards and the evolutions hang on. And really that's what it's about. It's about all those combos with all those cards, which work tremendously. The game has a really cool sort of groupthink dynamic to it, in which if everybody does one thing, then someone doing something different really can run away with it. There's games where a lot of people will go carnivore, but then they are struggling for food, because they're fighting between themselves. There are games where no one does it, and so one player does it and just starts tearing through other people's species. Or maybe they're all buffered up and they have evolutions that keep that carnivore from feeding, and so the carnivore fades out naturally, because if a creature can't feed, its population decreases until it dies off. It just works really well. The theme is original, it's well implemented. The cards are all unique and interesting. There's a lot of those moments where you draw cards and you go, I like that. That's cool. That's what that does. Ooh, I can use that. I can combine this card with this card, and now I have a really neat combo driving this species. So everything works really well. My only complaint really probably is this silly thing. The things Kickstarter makes us do are ridiculous sometimes. But this silly, massive piece aside, this game is brilliant. And if you're looking for something original with a really cool theme, then I recommend you go out and check out this one, Evolution. Very neat game.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.